Hello, my name is Kevin Wilson, and I'm a member of the Astronomical Society of Greenbelt. For our contribution to December days this year, we'd like to take you on a tour of the night sky in December. We start the tour showing what the sky looks like in Greenbelt on December 3rd. If you're stargazing later in the month, the objects may be in slightly different locations at different times, but you should still have no trouble finding them. We begin our tour looking south-southwest at about 4:30 in the evening. The sun is just set, but we're still in twilight. We set time in motion and run it about an hour up until 5:30. You'll notice at this point that 3 bright objects have appeared in the sky. The one closest to the horizon in the southwest is the planet Venus, the second planet from the sun in our solar system. If you have a good pair of binoculars or a telescope, you would be able to see that right now the planet Venus is a crescent. Because it is closer to the sun than we are, it goes through phases the same way that the moon does. On December 3rd, it will appear about 25% illuminated from our point of view. The bright object in the upper left is the planet Jupiter, the largest planet in our solar system. With a pair of binoculars or a small telescope, you would be able to see 4 of the moons of Jupiter. Between Jupiter and Venus is the planet Saturn. With a pair of binoculars or a small telescope, you would be able to see the rings of Saturn, but you would need a much larger telescope before you could see its moons. It's not a coincidence that Venus, Saturn, and Jupiter are in a line across the night sky right now. Almost all objects in the solar system orbit the sun in the same plane, and therefore appear to cross the sky on this line. We call this line the ecliptic. As we speed up the simulation to step through the next few days at the rate of about 1 day per second, you can see that the moon orbits the Earth on this same plane. Returning to December 3rd, we turn our attention to the west and run our clock forward another hour to 6:30. Here, you'll see a trio of stars named Altair, Vega, and Deneb. These 3 stars form an asterism called the Summer Triangle. In case you're not familiar with the term asterism, it's a name for an unofficial constellation. This asterism is called the Summer Triangle because it is prominent in the sky during the summer months. The Summer Triangle helps us locate 3 constellations: the constellation of Aquila, the constellation of Lyra, and the constellation of Cygnus. These are the Eagle, the Harp, and the Swan, respectively. By this point, you may have noticed that even though it's 2 hours past sunset, you still aren't seeing that many stars. And that's not by accident. I noted at the beginning of the video that I was showing you the sky as it looks in Greenbelt, Maryland. Unfortunately, that means simulating the light pollution in this area. Light pollution is measured on a scale of 1 to 9. 1 is the best, meaning a site that has no light pollution whatsoever, while 9 is the worst. Greenbelt is a 7, which means it's not a great place to do astronomy. To show you what a difference light pollution makes, I'm going to temporarily set the light pollution to 1 so you can see what the sky would look like under ideal conditions. When I do that, you'll notice that we've been looking right at the Milky Way galaxy this entire time, but we're unable to see it. After returning light pollution to its correct setting, we then turn our attention to the south-southeastern sky. We then quickly run our clocks ahead from 6:30 until midnight. That brings us to another trio of stars, Betelgeuse, Sirius, and Procyon, and they comprise the Winter Triangle. Sirius should be easy to locate whenever it's up, because it is the brightest star in the night sky. The Winter Triangle helps us find 3 winter constellations. These are Orion, Canis Major, and Canis Minor. Orion is the hunter, while Canis Major and Canis Minor are his 2 faithful hunting dogs. The constellation of Orion is one of my favorites. and it has a lot to offer even to the naked eye. Betelgeuse, the star in Orion's shoulder, is a red giant. It's also a variable star, which means that it's constantly getting brighter or dimmer in a cycle that takes about 400 days. Another prominent feature of Orion is the 3 stars in a row that make up his belt. Orion features in the logo of the Astronomical Society of Greenbelt, and in the logo, the 3 stars are green, to symbolize Greenbelt. Just below the belt, you'll notice another line of 3 stars, this time much smaller than the belt. These stars comprise the dagger of Orion. If you look closely at the middle star in the dagger, you'll notice that it has a slight green haze around it. This is particularly clear if you look at it through binoculars or if you're under very dark skies. This is the Orion Nebula, one of the brightest nebulas in the sky. It is an area of dense hydrogen gas that is slowly collapsing to form new stars. For the final part of our night tour, we zoom back out on the southern sky. We then run our clock ahead to about 2:30 in the morning, and then step forward to the morning of December 14th. At that point, if you look just above the winter triangle, you'll see 2 bright stars named Castor and Pollux. These 2 stars mark the heads of the twins in the constellation Gemini. If you can find Castor and Pollux, then you're in good shape for watching the Geminid meteor shower, which peaks on the evening of December 13th and 14th. The Geminids is one of the most active meteor showers of the entire year. If you were in a dark sky area, you could expect to see upwards of 150 meteors each hour. You won't see quite that many under the bright skies of Greenbelt, but it can still be an impressive show. Meteor showers are named after the constellations from which they appear to radiate, and the Geminids appear to shoot outward from an area around the star Castor. Although you can see the Geminids all night long, it's best to start watching around 2:30 in the morning this year, because the moon will have just set in the western sky, taking its contribution to light pollution with it. I hope you've enjoyed this tour of the night sky, and that it's piqued your interest in astronomy. If you'd like to learn more, please visit us at greenbeltastro.org. And from all of us at the Astronomical Society of Greenbelt, we wish you clear skies and happy holidays.